You may get to a company where you have high pay and low benefits, or
Okay.
your benefit package is not as strong as it should be. So you want to understand how that impacts your overall total rewards. It's almost a signed contract. It's considered a contract. So you want all that included. If there are terms in the offer letter you don't quite understand, ask for explanation and then look it up yourself as well. You need to reflect on which job is best for you, weigh your pros and cons of each and make that decision, and make sure you understand the culture, because everything that may look great on paper, but you want to start a job and pick up like it was a natural role for you.
Welcome back to another episode with Career Kickstart Conversations. I'm your host, Sarah, and today I'm joined by a really great guest, Stephanie. And I will pass it over to Stephanie for a quick introduction, and then we'll jump into today's topic.
Thank you. I'm Stephanie Cogdell. I've worked in HR for over 20 years. I began my career at Duke University and moved over to the NGO world and worked there for about 12 or 13 years. I'm a compensation and total rewards and an HRIS professional.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Well, we'll just jump into today's topic. So today we're talking about breaking down a job offer.
Mhm.
So kind of thinking from like the top section, what are the most or the must-have components every offer should include or a candidate should be looking for?
So the first thing I would do is read over the offer in detail, make sure the job description is spelled out, make sure the job title is actually identical to what's on the posting. You also want to understand your reporting structure.
Okay.
Also want to know the key duties of the job description. You want to have the benefits laid out on that, the wait period or the probation period, as some of us call it. You may see it called onboarding period now.
Mm.
And then they may not give you the summary of benefits in the job offer, but at least have them provide a link for you.
Okay.
And that should include medical, leave time, any kind of bonuses or equity pay. You want all that included.
Understood. Okay.
Mhm.
And are there ever like common things that you've seen that are missing from offers that candidates should ask about or
So a lot of things some of the things that are missing, we always see where people list out their 401k or their 403b and equity payments. You want to know what is the wait period
Mm.
before you're eligible. When do your benefits start? Does it start day one? Does it start? Do you have to wait 30 days out? Which ones are you eligible for? And if you are awarded some sort of bonus payment, how is that bonus payment paid out? Is it paid out a flat 10%, 15%? Are there some performance metrics that you need to
Mhm.
meet before you are awarded that bonus? And if you leave early, is there a wait period? If you leave early, do you have to pay any of that bonus out? Those are just a couple of the things that you are sometimes missing that if you're a new employee or new in your career, you may not know to answer.
Yeah.
Also, with your benefits, you want to be able to read over your benefits, look at the details and which benefits are offered. You know, a lot of people now are interested in the weight loss programs
Yeah.
or mental health programs. You want to look in and see what the fees are for that, what your copays are, what your deductibles are, and how that is awarded out, because you may get to a company where you have high pay and low
Mm.
benefits, or
Okay.
your benefit package is not as strong as it should be. So you want to understand how that impacts your overall total rewards.
That makes sense. And
hmm
so say all those things that you mentioned that can be commonly missing. So say a bunch of them are missing from the offer. Would you say it would be just fine for a candidate to call and talk to whoever offered and have like verbally them say, yes, those things are included? Or should a candidate have that conversation and ask for it all in writing?
So they should politely just send a professional email to the recruiter
Mhm.
or the hiring manager, whoever sent them the offer letter, and ask if these things were offered to them. And if they were, could they go back and include it in the original offer letter? Because it's almost a signed contract. It's a considered a contract, so you want all that included. If there are terms in the offer letter you don't quite understand, like PSUs, RSUs, the types
Yeah.
of equity, ask for explanation, and then look it up yourself as well, and check with friends that have been through this before, and ask. It's okay to ask what their experiences were when they went through the process too.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure you read it over it like a fine tooth comb.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Mhm.
I know we talked a little bit already on kind of like the benefits side of it, but we'll kind of jump through a little more fine detail
Mhm.
of those. So I know you talked about just in general like a benefits summary, and a lot of time offers will have just kind of like
Mhm.
that one-page benefits summary. Do you think it's appropriate to ask kind of like beginning stages before an offer to have the full details, or wait until an offer comes?
I always do. I always ask for the benefit summary, and most recruiters will provide it for you
Yeah.
so that you can weigh your options, especially if you are interviewing with multiple companies. You want to go ahead and start doing your research early and ask for the benefit summary and give them time to ask questions.
Mm.
It may even help the recruiter to understand, hey,
Mm.
we're not as competitive as we should be, in because our candidates are coming back and asking these questions about our benefits package. Many companies will post it on their sites already,
Okay.
and send it out initially. So I think the progressive ones do that,
Yeah.
and they send that information out to you initially. To my experience, um, I've seen where I've been offered pretty good pay in a role,
Hmm.
and then went back to look at the benefits package, and the benefits reduced the pay by a few thousand. The lack of
Wow.
benefits
Yeah.
offer reduced the pay by quite a bit. So your total rewards package is not as high as it should be. Hmm.
Yeah, definitely don't be scared to
Yeah,
ask for
yeah,
them ahead of time.
yeah.
I'll kind of jump to 401k. I think that's something a lot of candidates will
Hmm.
ask,
Hmm.
do you have 401k? And it's either sometimes people say yes or no, but
Hmm.
what questions do you feel like a candidate should ask to understand the
Hmm.
breakdown better?
So I would ask what is the wait period before they're eligible for 401k contributions from the organization. I would ask that. I would also ask for definitions for what are you eligible for? Are you eligible for the RSUs, or the restricted stock, or the performance stock?
Okay.
And that's usually offered to executive. And if you are, what are the metrics that you have to meet? And again, if you are able to get the full amount that you see on paper,
Yeah.
because you may see it up to,
Mm.
and if metrics are met in the general offer, but you need to know exactly what you need to do to get those benefits. You also want to know if they're after tax or pre-tax
Okay.
in the offer. And with the vesting period, let's say some people have a cliff vesting period where you don't stay the full 3 years, but they'll give you a percentage of what the company has put in. You want to ask those type of questions to see if it's if the package is still competitive or
Okay.
attractive to you.
That makes sense.
Hmm.
And sign-on bonuses, I feel like, are a big one. What like red tape or separate contracts should a candidate look for with a sign-on bonus?
With the sign-on bonus, you should see what are the requirements of the sign-on bonus. Is there a period you need to say 3 months, 6 months? What are the particulars and specifics about the sign-on bonus? When are you awarded it? Are you
Hmm.
awarded the sign-on bonus day one? Are you awarded the sign-on bonus after you work 3 months, 6 months? Do they pay it out in full?
Mm.
Do they pay it out partially? I've even asked, being in my position, I've dealt
Yeah.
with new candidates coming in on sign-on bonus. Is the sign-on bonus after taxes taken out? Because some of
Mm.
them have asked for that. How much tax will be taken out? Is it considered in the same tax bracket as your regular pay? And how does that impact your overall take-home pay when you get the sign-on bonus?
Yeah, especially too, like you said, with how long,
Mhm.
if you like leave early, a lot of times you'll have to usually pay them back if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
there's a set time.
And what? Yeah. So usually, I've had a few come on and sign on bonus. You also want to know who's eligible for it.
Mm.
What made them is this something they do all the time? I would
Yeah.
ask that just to say,
Yeah.
is this something they do all the time, or was it just for me? Because you always want when you get to a good company, you want to make recommendations to your friends,
Yeah.
and you don't want to give out confidential information
No,
if it were just for you.
that's good. Yeah.
Mhm.
What I think a lot of candidates also ask, what's the bonus percentage based on? In your experience, obviously, I know it can be different things, but what
Mhm.
are like the top three things you usually, or top two things you usually see it based on?
Um, your performance metrics, whether you're eligible, how long the wait period is. Most people, some companies may say you're only eligible after working a year. It may be for only exempt staff. It may be for only director and up staff. You want to know what are the eligibility requirements.
Mhm.
And again, if there's any kind of payback or clawback clause in there, you want to understand that as well.
And in a typical job offer, would you say bonus, like the bonus structure when it's written out, say like XYZ base salary plus a 15% bonus?
hmm
Does it usually just say 15% bonus, or does it have the full breakdown and like details of it?
They don't give most offer letters don't give all the details.
Yeah.
So that's when that you should ask more questions of the recruiter and ask for all the details and ask them to put that if they don't mind putting that in the offer letter.
Okay.
They Most offer letters will put what's required by law.
Okay.
hmm So like working conditions,
Mhm.
work hours, whether you're remote, what the definition of hybrid is.
Yeah.
So you want to go in and ask for further explanation about the clause on the bonus, whether um again if it is it an equity pay or is it just a flat percentage, is it a flat dollar amount, and how often you're eligible for that bonus.
Mm.
So performance, some companies, smaller companies may not have equity pay or like RSUs or PSUs. They may just give a flat performance bonus of $2,000 to $3,000
Okay.
or whatnot. You want to know how often you're eligible for that,
Yeah.
because some people may incorporate that in their annual salaries each year,
Okay.
or make plans to spend it later. So you just
Yeah.
want to know how often you're eligible for it and when do you pay it out at
Uh,
performance review time in July or January. You just want to know go ahead and set your expectations early.
yeah. I think another good question too is to know like, what's the percentage usually on the year of how often they are actually paying it out
hmm
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so some bonuses are based off company metrics too,
Yeah.
right? So that if the company meets their metrics and you meet your metrics, is it a combination of the company plus the employee or both?
Yeah.
Or just one? If the company makes their metrics and I don't, do I just get a percentage of that?
Mm.
Or do I get it all?
Yeah.
You want to understand those um, types of nuances about the bonus structure.
Absolutely. I'll jump down to equity. What do you feel like a candidate, if they are getting equity, they should clarify about the vesting schedules for equity or stock grants?
So again, you want to know what is the wait period. You just want to understand the payout. What happens if you leave early? If the company doesn't meet their metrics, do they reduce it? I
Mm.
know for executive roles, if you don't meet your metrics, you still get quite a hefty payout or bonus
Yeah.
for their PSUs, but it may be reduced.
Okay.
Um, as well as that for the individual employee that may get the restricted stock options. They also have options where you can buy into the company
Okay.
stocks at a reduced rate.
Mm.
You want to know what that looks like, how much the reduced rate is. So, for example, if you have a stock option, the company might give you a 15% break on the stock option. You want to know when that matures,
Okay.
when it actually matures, and when it's actually yours. If they have a 3-year vesting schedule and you leave early, they may revert it back to the company. You may not be able to take what you put into it.
It's good to know.
hmm
And then PTO, how is it accrued, and how are like sick days being used? Can they be used interchangeably?
mm
Are there waiting periods? And then also, I feel like so many companies now offer unlimited PTO. Like,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
does that mean? What does that look like on an
yeah.
offer?
That's a good question because I see a lot of different structures. So
Yeah.
a traditional way, traditional benefits are you have vacation in a pool and you have sick in a pool.
Mm,
And a lot of companies will give 1 day a month or
okay.
8 hours a month, and then you can carry it over. So it sometimes it depends on how financially stable the organization, how strong their benefits package, how competitive it is. If they want to lead the market, they may offer you rollover every year with your sick time, and they may offer you rollover every year with your vacation time up to a certain limit, and then it converts to sick time.
Okay.
And like the traditional way is if you leave the company early or leave a company and you have leftover vacation time,
Yeah.
it's paid out to you when you leave. But you want to ask those questions because now we're moving to, like you just mentioned, unlimited,
Mhm.
where the vacation is sick. The company trusts that you'll just use what you need, and you call them and you call your manager and says, I want to take this vacation time and it's unlimited. You take it. I want to take this sick. It's really strategic for the organization to do that
Yeah.
because then they don't have to pay you out
Okay.
when you leave. But you want to understand those um, requirements or the benefits structure. Also, I've seen companies like state government may do this. They have a pool where if you have a lot of sick time accrued, you may want to loan it or put it in a pool so that if an employee's had used up their pool of sick time, they may be able to go in and borrow from that
Mm.
so that they can take the time off they need to recuperate from any kind of surgery or illness. And those are a few of the ways. So there's different ones. Some people give you 2 weeks from start
Yeah.
and then you use it and that's it. Or again, accrue your vacation, maybe 3.5 hours a week or 7 hours a pay period. And then you put that in the pool and it's accrued. I've seen it where also you want to know that if you reach a certain seniority, maybe you're there 5 years, do you accrue more vacation time? You want to understand that if the pools are separated. And ask the question, what is your PTO? Because a lot of people, pay time off, just get more clarification on how that works before you take the job.
Yeah.
And it should be listed in the benefits package. Don't be afraid to ask for the employee handbook or the benefits digest so that you can understand how it actually works.
And what does the unlimited PTO, like, what does that usually look like on a job offer? It just says unlimited
It
PTO?
just says
PTO.
unlimited PTO, but you should still ask questions how it works.
Yeah.
What are the requirements for me to actually take a week of
Mm.
vacation or to be out for a surgery? Do I need to file short-term disability, FMLA? You want to know what those requirements are before you take your actual PTO when you're out. And I'll admit that was a foreign concept to me
Yeah.
to say PTO or unlimited because coming from Duke University and then working for the last two NGOs, it was always a separate bucket.
Yeah.
And then I started hearing companies like ABB and or Cisco having a unlimited, or maybe not Cisco, but I know ABB
Yeah.
that has an unlimited pool where you just borrow from it. And a lot of companies are moving to that because it's cost effective.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I know we talked a little bit on like getting in writing. If an offer says hybrid, how would you say to go about that conversation? And like, what do they specifically need to have in writing if it is a hybrid role?
Mhm. And by the time you've reached the point to get to the offer, those questions probably should be answered so you can understand the culture,
Yeah.
the work requirements before you are in the last round of interviews. So a good recruiter will go ahead and explain that to you. So you want to know hybrid, what days,
Mm-hmm.
what hours, um, how often can I change my days up? Can I work from anywhere on those days off? If I live in Raleigh and want to visit a parent in maybe Virginia? Can I work from there? Will you call me in at the last minute? Do I have to come in for a large meeting? So you want to understand what the definition of hybrid, what are the policies? And usually you will have a policy at that company that you're maybe offered a job to. So you want to see that written policy as well.
And should you see that like listed on the job offer, or
Mm-hmm.
is it okay just to have the conversation and maybe
No.
view their policy?
So ask for them to put it in writing if you don't feel
Okay.
comfortable, if it's not spelled out properly in the benefits.
Okay.
So if it's spelled out properly in the benefits digest or the employee handbook, that may be good enough, because what happens is when you do you sign off on all that information before you start. So you can, if you feel comfortable with it that it's in the handbook and documented properly, I would just leave it that way. Or if it's not clear to you, go ahead and put it in the offer letter. And a lot of times employees can negotiate for more vacation time, more sick time, as long as they deem it equitable and
Okay.
fair. You may be able to negotiate for a little more time, especially in executive roles.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I know we covered kind of a lot of what you'll see in that middle section. Based on that or anything else that comes to mind, what are the top like 2 to 3 red flags or like vague clauses that you as a candidate would see in an offer that you would say follow like a follow-up question?
So, when you're offered a job, there should be two types of postings. One is the job posting that's kind of vague and clear, and then you're offered your job description. So you want to make sure your job description is really clear,
Okay.
and your duties and your deliverables are marked really clear. Your reporting structure is really clear. Who you report to. I've been in situations myself when I interview with a manager, really liked her, and then within a month, my manager switched.
Mm,
So you want to be clear about that reporting structure, who your colleagues are, your work location, and again, get the hybrid work schedule down pat and the work hours.
okay.
If you start a job and they tell you work 8 to 5, and then you have to be in a meeting at 5 a.m., you should ask them to, there should be a clause in there that says, or as needed,
Okay.
based off, you might work for a global company that has support different time zones. You want that clear. You want the equity clauses, the
Yeah.
equity payments spelled out for you as well, to make sure you understand the bonus structure and how the different payouts work for you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll jump down to like the kind of the bottom of an offer letter. So the acceptance aspect of it. A lot of offer letters will say, well, I think all of them do, like, please have this signed and returned by XYZ date. How should candidates handle that time frame, especially if they're in other offers or other interviews that aren't at that stage yet, or maybe they need more than the given time to think about this offer?
So I would recommend using that time and getting it back on time. But
Okay.
if you are in that stage where you are vetting two different employers, it's okay to send them back a note and say, can you give me more time to read over the offer letter and get back to you maybe 2 to 3 days? Most employers, most recruiters will be okay with that.
Okay.
Unless they have a definite time for you to start work. Some companies have a hard stop, or
Yeah.
like maybe they only start employees on the 1st or the 15th. So if they're trying to meet a timeline, you just want to help them understand that you just need a little bit more time. I wouldn't go as far out as a week or so. And then you need to reflect on which job is best for you. And if you weigh your pros and cons of each and make that decision, because you don't want to, if you've been offered a job, you don't want to miss out on this opportunity
No.
and hold off too long. But always make sure you've read over it and taken your time. Don't get excited about or nervous and anxious and sign too quickly. Make sure you read over every detail of it, ask the questions like we just stated,
Yeah.
and send emails back to the recruiter it's, you can have a conversation, but being able to create a paper trail, email trail, so you can go back and make sure you understand what they've told you,
Mm,
put it in writing. And especially if you need more time, put that in writing as well.
perfect. Okay. And then talking about like timing. So a lot of candidates always wonder like, should you wait for a background check to go through before putting in notice or accepting or an offer, or is it okay just to?
No, most definitely wait for those to come back.
Okay.
Especially if you're waiting on clearance, if you have some sort of high security clearance, background checks, drug tests, credit checks, some like CFOs or any kind of finance employees might have to submit to a credit check. You want all those to come back before you sign that offer letter and before you give notice to your next job. Make sure everything is inked.
Yeah.
With today's economy, a lot of companies are pausing positions and hopefully they'll know before they get to the last round, but a lot are pausing. So you want to make sure you don't get to the end of the job and send in your resignation before you sign and they recant.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to wrap it up and summarize, if you could give every job seeker just one piece of advice before they sign an offer, what would it be?
Read over that contract or the offer letter is somewhat
Yeah.
of a contract. Understand that all the terms in there, like at will, the equity stocks, some of these, if you're moving from one industry to another or one state to another, there may be terms in there you don't understand. Make sure you read over those, Google them, chat GPT them, look at them
Yes.
all, look up them all.
Yeah.
Also, read over the company's website
Mm,
and make sure you understand the culture because everything that may look great on paper, but you want to make sure you can start a job and pick up like it was a natural role for you and understand the culture of the organization.
yeah.
Just look them up and read over it. Get a friend to read over it too. Um, that may have more experience than you do with reading contracts or offer letters, and make sure you feel good about it.
That's good advice.
Hmm.
Well, amazing. Thank you so much for coming on and
Hmm.
sharing your insights. And if anybody has any questions,
Hmm.
comments, stories they want to share, feel free to drop them below.